What's up, everybody? Well, I've been working on this planner this week and I'm tired of laying underneath this thing. So I'm going to take a break on this and work on something that I actually am excited to work on. Part 1 of restoring this XT190 Series 3. I'm going to take this cab off. I yesterday sprayed penetrating oil on these hinges, so hopefully the windows and doors will all come out. It looks like there's just 2 bolts here on each side. And 2 bolts down there on each side. As far as this, I should say fire. As far as this wiring for this cab goes, it's just gonna get the old wire cutter snip job because we've got multiple Scotch locks taped in here, and the rodents have chewed those wires bare. And there's multiple Scotch locks up there. I think I figured out why the fuel gauge doesn't work. Not only do we have Scotch locks with butt connectors, plus just taped together wires. This one's chewed off, and that one's completely bare. So that's gonna get the snip job. There's multiple taped wires and Scotch locks up there. And yeah, lots of taped together connections here. So we don't have to unhook a heater. It's already had the heater deleted. I had no luck finding fenders for this. So everybody in the comments that had watched the first video of this when I brought it home that said I needed to keep the cab since this was dealer installed and all the glass is good in it and whatnot, you're gonna get your way. I'm taking it off to paint the tractor. We'll go through fixing anything that needs to be fixed on this cab. I already have a cab upholstery kit for it. But today we'll try to get this cab off, and then we can mechanically, the only thing that I know of, and I ran it quite a bit this last fall, drove it down the road, ran augers with it. The steering's kind of loose going down the road, so we'll jack the front up and figure out if we got wheel bearing issues, or those tie rods there look like they've been changed, but tie rod issue or the steering cylinder is loose. We'll figure that out, and I guess we'll get it in the other shop and strip the tin work off and start power washing and sanding. But anybody that didn't watch the video last fall when I brought this home, so I bought it from the original owner. It's never been on any other farm before I bought it, and it's lived its whole life a couple miles from my house, so that's pretty darn cool. I already took the grill off, but I'll set you guys up and I'll start pulling some glass out of this. All right, I undid the hinges on the inside. I'm only one band-aid into this project already, but let's see if I can fall on my ass or break some glass here. There we go. Got any of you on the edge of your seats yet? You should be. Just looking for the connector here. Oh, found it. Well, that was easy. First tractor I ever bought to farm with. I was a sophomore in high school when I rented my first 50-acre field. First tractor I bought was a 70-30 maroon belly, and it had this exact year-round cab on it, and I ran it first spring field cultivating, and I brought it home to my parents' shop, and my dad walks out to the shop, and I had taken all the glass out like I just did here, but I had a Sawzall in my hand, and I cut this post, and I cut the back post, and I cut the front post. And I took the loader tractor and just knocked it right off of the tractor. Just kept the fenders from the year-round cab. It was a lot quieter. Dad thought I was losing my mind, but it made it quieter. Grab the forklift and see if we can pluck this thing off of here. Not so much. I missed some bolts. I took them off down there. There's 2 bolts on each side right here, because this plate that I unbolted is bolted to under the fuel tank. So let me get them off. Okay, take 2. Let's try this again. Wow. Not a lot of headroom to spare up there, but it's off. All right, let's take it to the other shop so we can start stripping all this tin work off of it. All right, it's the next day. Have it over here in the paint shop. I'm afraid that this one's gonna get a little bit deeper than a paint job already, but yeah, that's the way it goes. The clutch, even when you have it down all the way, sometimes it's kind of hard to get it into gear. Like there's not hardly any free play left, and this has been adjusted. I mean, there's still more adjustment, but it's been adjusted a lot. That's not what concerns me. It's hard for me to show this on camera, but quite a bit of play in that clutch arm. We may be splitting it, putting a clutch in it. The seat needs some pins and bushings and whatnot. Like that pin right there, see how it's walked out? It's walked out on the other side too, so that pin's broke in the middle. But we'll fix that. Just getting all the tin work stripped off of it. I think I'll drain this fuel tank and pull it off because there's a sediment bowl on each side back here. They're both leaking. And these hydraulic remote hoses are shot. So with that out of there, I can, it'll make it easier for changing all the hoses after I paint it. But I set you guys up because this is always cool when I buy a tractor from an old timer or it's been around forever. Digging through, a lot of times they just leave whatever is in these toolboxes. So I'll set you up and we'll dig it all out of here. Well, there was nothing super cool in there. A whole bunch of hitch pins. So that's cool. I can always use them. It had these sockets, 4 different sizes, and then 2 different lengths of these T-bars that go in there. That's pretty neat. Like, I'm not sure if that's just old school tools or if that's something to do with Allis, but some pliers and vice grips. I'll put these rusty tools in a little tub of evaporust, and it's amazing what that stuff does. Remind me of that. We'll do that. But the next video here, we'll have the rest of the tin work off. I'll take the platform tin work off. We'll power wash the heck out of this thing. And then Mrs. G can start sanding and doing any body work on the hood and the side panels. And we'll decide if we're putting a clutch in it. But if you stayed till the end here, I'm going to take you on a little field trip here, and it's a nice day out, so just hang on. We'll go do something else. All right. So this M is owned by the gentleman that I bought that Allis from, and that 7110 Magnum that I had, I bought it from him. One of the nicest people in the world. Unfortunately, he has some medical issues, and I won't get into any of that, but his son called me last fall, and one thing about old farmers is they may forget a lot of things when they get older or in their old age, but they always remember. They always have in the back of their mind things that don't ever go away. And his son called and said, my dad will not stop saying that his M needs to be serviced. Will you please go change the oil in it? So I drained the oil months ago here, and then it got freezing cold. But I've got a new filter, I've got oil. The battery was shot on it, so I brought a good battery I had at home, so we'll put that in here. But I have absolutely no problems helping people like that out, because I hope if I'm ever old and can't remember anything, but I'm bound determined that one of my tractors needs an oil change, I hope somebody will go do it just to put my mind at ease. So I'll set you up here. Sorry the lighting's bad in here. I'd open the slider door, but I also bought these 2 wagons from that gentleman, and they're nice. The family's nice enough to let me put stuff in this shed of theirs. So my draper head's in here, corn head's in here, my batwing's in here. I bought that batwing from him also, so took very good care of his stuff. That's why I bought a bunch of what he had. He'll have to bear with the banging noise in the background. Doors banging around on the building there. I grew up driving a M, picking up rocks out in the field for my dad. He had an M with a new Idea loader on it. I put many, many hours on that tractor. I think this has been sitting for around 3 or 4 years, just like the 190 Allis. It was sitting in the corner of this shed, and it had been sitting for, I believe, 3 years. I had some 30 weight oil at home, so that'll work. Just fill it up till it starts coming out of this petcock down here. And I'll fill it up till it drips out of the top one. Well, that battery ain't gonna fit in that battery box, so we'll have to get the correct battery. Bottom of the battery box is not in the greatest shape either. All right, got the battery back up. Fuel on. Boy, there's a bunch of crud in the bottom of that sediment bowl. I bet this gas isn't too great either, so some other day, whenever I get the correct battery, drain this old gas out of it, clean that sediment bowl for them, put some fresh gas in it. The last time I ran this thing, I used it to back these wagons in. The thing fired right up. Let's see. good oil pressure. I don't see any oil leaking out, so we must have got that seal in there good. So, all right, I'm going to top it back off with oil. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the sub button, comment, like, all that stuff. Have a good one.